pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to that magical place where they're dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to that magical place where they're dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down through the 7 gates where I'll cast my being to the hands of fate. Take me down to the dragon's lair where myth and legend ride the air. Let me rise on the messenger's wings, let me see what the future brings. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh, hey, oh.
200 years ago, there's 7 nations in our area that are working together. There's Chippewa, Cree, Ojibwe, Assiniboine, Dakota, Mandan, Haudenousaunee. Each leader has to be Sitting Eagle, they call them. Sitting Eagle has to be the leader of each nation.
1613, 400 years ago, we made a treaty called the Two Row Renewal. 1613, toward the end of the year, it's being violated. 1614 and so forth, right up till today, being violated.
We say these things, but nobody listens to us. I said, he's just another crazy Indian, huh? But you know, our message, God is showing with the people. This is the message I want the world to hear.
They're pushing the Native people into self-government. The self-government, they give them so many million. Sounds good, but if you have 1,000 people, $1 million is nothing.
What we've done is we've basically gone back to our ways, the ways of the Creator, the laws that were given to us. There's a hand of God is at work helping us with what we're doing here. In 2007, we had pipelines that were coming through this part of the territory here. This is in Canada. We have what we call treaty people in Canada. There's a number of treaties, 1 to 11, who basically gave away all of the prairie provinces. So when these pipelines were going through, there's a lot of concern about these pipelines, and a lot of them, there's a few of them that have blown up in our area. And the oil pipelines that have leaked into the groundwater. And so the younger generation started asking questions. Well, what's in these treaties? Why aren't these treaties helping us? You know, a treaty is supposed to be based on peace, friendship, and equality, right? Well, unfortunately, these treaties that they signed with Canada were written in a foreign language, and they didn't know what they were signing.
I witnessed this whole room stand up all at once. That's strength. That's unity. That's what this town was lacking for the last 40 years. Now I believe we have it. Now that we have it, let's use it. Let's do something.
Sego, in my language, that means greetings. My name is Clanmother Sharan from the Golden Hill Pugwassa tribe. We have 2 reservations here in Connecticut, one in Trumbull and one in Colchester. I would like to speak to you about the Unity Riders. I met them in August, and it was a very, very wonderful event. I was very honored to be a part of their ceremony, to meet all the Unity Riders, to sit down and speak with all of them together as a group, one-on-one. The Unity Riders have been traveling on their horses from Canada, and they were going to the United Nations to speak about peace and healing for all nations and for everybody all over the world, not just Native tribes, but for everybody around the world, for peace and healing. The Unity Riders had stopped in Danbury, where I had met them, and they also had a wonderful ceremony for Afraid of Hawk. I was a part of that. As you will see throughout the video, you will see the ceremony and all of the introductions. You will see the introduction that I gave that day. It was I wouldn't say it was beyond happy. I was honored, but it was also a wonderful, wonderful, good healing and peaceful experience, very blessing. Lots of smiles and laughs and hugs, and you got to sit down with a lot of the elders, and it was just very, very, very peaceful, and all of the questions that you asked, the questions that they asked you, it was just a wonderful blessing to be in their presence and to feel the wonderful healing and the medicine that these elders from the Unity Riders had to share and offer for everybody that was present that day in Danbury. The horses were very beautiful. You can feel, the ceremonies that they have been through and the medicines that they have been through. But as you watch through the video, you will see and hear my voice as a narrator, but you will see the different parts of that day and the ceremony and all of the good, wonderful things that went on. But as for my experience, I was very happy and honored and blessed to be with them that day and to share in their ceremonies and their meet and greet. Oh, no.
My name is Gus High Eagle from Pipestone, Manitoba, Canada. We're on this journey to New York City to present trying to save our sacred sites. All companies, big company, corporations, they're destroying our sacred sites. They're doing a fracking, drilling, fracking, pipelines without the consent of our people. So some of the new pipelines, and as soon as it's done, it starts leaking. That shouldn't be. So the next 7 or more generation, we're thinking of the kids to have clean water. It's up to us, the people, the original people, along with the common people, to stand together and then go against the government. Because the government, all they want is just money, 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 and they just look away. Thank you.
The Unity Riders from Manitoba, Canada are arriving in Newtown, Connecticut at the 2nd Company Governor's Horse Guard. A Dakota Sioux member sang and drummed an honor welcoming song. Cavalry and the Unity Riders meeting and greeting each other and rode alongside each other for it was a historic moment for all involved. Welcoming presentations and ceremony was done on the Horse Guard grounds and facility. Chief Gus and the Unity Riders were being awarded the Connecticut General Assembly Award, unit patches, and the Connecticut state flag.
Which day? I'd like to thank the Creator for this beautiful day and this beautiful place. My name is Three Spirits. I am the chief of my tribe, and I was asked to speak about the Unity Ride. It was an honor and a privilege for me to be there and to witness the brothers come from all the way from Canada to bring a message to our people of all nations. It was an honor and a privilege for me to sit and spend time with the chief and the writers, and I was curious of what their thoughts were and what their prayers were, and basically it was the same. Our thoughts and our prayers were for the people. Again, it was a big honor for me to spend time with them, and I hope America, and people of all tribes, will listen to the message for Mother Earth, for the people, for all of our survival. I thank you. I hope.
First of all, my name is Travis Mazuticha. My Dakota name is Tahika Chunkukaka. I come from the Sioux Valley Dakota Nation. It took us 4 days to travel, 4 nights to travel down here to get to the state of New York City, or the state of New York. And we rode on Friday, August 9th in the city of New York. Our message to the people is our concerns about our environment and the concerns of our sacred sites. Back home and where we come from, which is Manitoba, we have oil companies that do a lot of drilling without consulting the original people, which is us, Dakota people. And with the oil drilling, we noticed that one of our sacred sites is in jeopardy because of a pipeline. Also, we noticed that where they're drilling is that the swamps, the vegetation around the waters is dying. With these small reactions from oil companies, I think it's going to escalate into larger issues from our territory. So this has been about a year planning for us. With that, we sent the message back home and regarding the issues that we had, and our local governments haven't heard our voice. And people around the globe also have that same concern and issue. With that, on August 9th, we rode in the city of New York and tried to reach out, tried to tell the people about our issues. Hopefully people did hear our voice. Hopefully that people heard our message. When we get home, we'll continue to see the oil companies drilling. We'll continue to see the the water being damaged. Well, hopefully it's not too late to stop and to stop and do we really need oil and gas, or do we need water? That's my question to all the people, is what do we really need in the future for the unborn children, the children after them? Or are we going to leave them this beautiful land that we have today? But time will tell. 10 years, 20 years time, we'll see. So with that, I'd like to thank New York, the state of New York City, for the beautiful hospitality, beautiful people, and this beautiful land that they have. And hopefully that the state of New York will continue to protect their environment and what they have. With that, Matakiwas.
Hello everybody, my name is Logan Owatch. I am from Carry the Kettle First Nation, Band 76. I am originally from Saskatchewan, and most of the all of the Uni Riders here are from Pipestone, Manitoba, and why we come this way to the United States is to send a message that back home where we're from, I noticed up here you guys call it fracking. Us back home we call it pipeline. Pipeline is just bulldozing through, and they're drilling wherever they want on our sacred sites, on our lands, on where we were brought up, and it's affecting our water. People say it's not affecting our water, but you can notice that, like our trees and all that, there's nothing growing around them. There's just no life there. There's no spirit, and it's affecting me as a youth. I'm sending this message out as a Unity rider. I'm just a messenger. I'm just a human being like everybody else. And why I painted my face up, if anybody wants to know, is because I'm a warrior. Where I come from, Dakota warrior. I'm a Dakota warrior, and I'm proud to be who I am. And those horses are doing a big part in all this. And I hope this message gets out to everybody that we all need to come together. You know, you put one stick together, it's hard to break. You put a bundle together, it's impossible to break. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get all the people together to come and help us. We're not protesters, we're not nothing. We're warriors. We're warriors trying to send a message. And there's times where it gets hard, where we have setbacks, where we struggle too. But like I say, we're only human beings. You know, we're not God or anything. But if this message can get out to people who really want to hear this, this is my message as a Lakota warrior, to help stop, save these pipelinings, these frackings and everything. I've been hearing a lot of stories on this way. I hear that there's some people way up west, up east, that are dying from the air, from the water. And you know, that hurts me. That really hurts my heart to hear that innocent people are dying from what pipelines are doing. You know, they're not, yes, they're making the big dollars, but they should be trying to put it to people who are starving, people who need it the most. And me, myself, I'm just a common man. I have nothing, and I don't want nothing. I'm here for a reason. I was told by an elder, everybody's here for a reason. I'm just a messenger. And I hope this message gets out to everybody that we're unity riders. We're not protesters. We're trying to bring peace. We're trying to bring people together. We're unity riders.
The Unity Riders from Manitoba, Canada, arriving in Terry Wow Park in Danbury, Connecticut. opening introductions, award and gift giving, and Albert Afraid of Hawks ceremony.
We're from Dakota Nation. My name is Gus Haiko, and we have my daughter Nancy Haiko. Logan Owatz, Charlie Leland Brown, Taylor Bell, Aaron Chasky, Travis Mazos, and Carl Mazos. We travel 2,000 miles to get here. And we're bringing a message to the United Nations. But in order to, we need the people. We need all the people support. Because the environment is for everybody, all mankind. And at the same time, we're trying to save our sacred sites. The oil companies drilling, fracking, they're destroying our sacred sites. So we're going to the United Nations. So I want to say thank you to have us here to this day. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Check it, the wall. Check it, the wall. Okay. What check it? What check it? Wakataka te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Nakumakage te wayado. Nakumakage te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Nakumakage te wayado. Nakumakage te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Nakumakage te wayado. Nakumakage te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Wakataka te wayado. Why it was fun. It's the mystery thing. So anyway, my wife was put to rest. I did it for her. So you know why I shake. But I brought the flag. You want to read the flag. The Shine River Sioux flag. Has the four bands on it. On there has the pipe, the peace pipe. So it's very important about the Dakota, Lakota, and Dakota people that we honor them and abide by the rules of that pipe. Sacred cow woman was a female that came and will come back again and show us the female. So she came, and that's why we have pipe carriers, which I am, sure some of you are. Pipe carriers. Like you have a cross there, symbolic, the one super B. So we brought the flag in honor of Albert. Flag for the children. Remember the children. I hung the flags. They're like streamers. I think they give the kids some, the family. I didn't go to Newtown, San Diego. I pray from home because it's our way. And it was hard for me not to get to go there. And them to understand our way of praying. So after this year coming up anniversary, I will do a sermon at my own house with my friends and family and burn those and do it the way we do it traditionally. So that's how we do things. And that's why I really honor these guys. Plow me. Pidami. Whatever. Pidami. I talked to Sharon, grandmother, and to come here, and Chief Bialki to come, but he couldn't make it. He called, said he couldn't make it. He's at the Shkadikuk reservation. So I always try to get a chief to come here as a welcome committee into their area, their territory, so they can welcome them in a traditional way. So I'm the liaison with
My name is Ed Sarabia. I'm Tlingit from Southeast Alaska. That is where my tribe is from. I now live in Connecticut, and I've lived here over 30 years now that I think about it. I go home regularly, go home to see my family, and to get re-energized with my tribe and my spirit. I'm also I'm representative for the tribes here in Connecticut. So I was asked to be here, and I got the flyer, and I was very interested. I was even here a year ago when Albert Afredahawk was unearthed and reinterred and sent back to his home in South Dakota. But I was here when they were doing the digging, and I remember when they were doing so, they weren't even sure they were going to find anything left of him because of the acidity of the soil in this area. And acidic soil does break down anything around it. Come to find out, Albert had some copper on him, earrings and a few other things he carried on his body that he got buried with. And that copper absorbed the acid and saved him, or at least part of his skeleton remains. Anyway, that was where I met the relatives or the descendants of Albert. And I realized when I was there that I had missed the connection with the spirit of that's all around us that we don't talk about or rarely discuss and don't have anybody else to talk about. Being with those natives, I felt the connection immediately about the spirituality. It's one of those things that's hard to put in words. It's like looking at your own baby or your own grandchild. There are millions of babies. There are millions of grandchildren. And how do you account for this one particular child is the one you love? And there's also a magic to growing up. Somewhere between a year old and maybe 8 or 9, there's a magic. The world people can fly, people can do things magically that, Walt Disney with his movies put that very well in those movies. There's a magic to that time. Then somehow we lose it as we get older. And then there's another magic that comes along, and another way you can call spirit, and it's called love. And love gives us that magic again. That's the reason it is necessary for us to have that thing called love when we fall in love with another person. We're always in love because we love our family, our relatives. But that special person we find somehow brings that magic back and reminds us of that time in our childhood, that spiritual time, and when life is different. So it's very hard to even say even that is magic. What does that really mean? What is spirituality? It's that connection somehow that brings us all together. Somehow the Creator gave us all the spirit and gave us that connection of our own spirit. But we don't seem to do it very often. And an event like today with the Unity Riders coming here, and there's something in the air, there's something that you can't touch. And people want to touch. They want to touch each other, they want to touch the rock, they want to touch the stone, they want answers. The unusual thing is, even when we thought people who go to churches very well cannot really say why they go to church, but somehow it does something for them internally. You can't touch that. You can't even touch love. You can't touch spirit. You can't touch hatred, but you can experience it. Those things are from the spirit world. And even the word spirit doesn't say it all. But somehow the magic and the spirit of today came today with these Unity Riders. How can you put that in words? What is it that you can explain what happened? You can explain these riders on a horse. You can explain they came from the Dakota Nation in Canada. You can say about the people, and even name the people that came. But really that doesn't express what spirituality is. Spirituality, in some ways, is just a shared time together. Spirituality is also a sharing of what is eternal. Not only that you have it, but you share with other people. And one of the things we traditionally raised American Indians say is, we need to share time with each other. We need to share food. And that's one of the reasons when you go among Indians and they share time, but more to the point, they share food with you. They're really saying, we really need to share something that we cannot put in words. And for us to share that time, it is better to share the food, which nurtures our soul, nurtures our body. But again, what is it really? It just is. Thank you.
My name's Bob Young, and of number of hats that I wear, I also happen to be the president of the Danbury Museum Historical Society. As such, I'm responsible for planning and carrying out a number of programs in the area, and one of them was today's Dakota Unity Ride. Met with the lead group from them and helped them plan out their trip through Connecticut. Newtown yesterday, Danbury today, and the Indian Institute in Washington, Connecticut tomorrow. They're from Manitoba. They're on their way for the UN and then finally the White House, which I'm sure you've already heard about. We worked real hard at having them stop through here, primarily because of our experiences last year and the 4 years before, dealing with the repatriation of Albert Afraid of Hawk. Albert was a full-blood Lakota from the Pine Ridge Reservation who was here back in 1900 with Buffalo Bill. And a day or two before they got here, they had gotten some tainted food. They think it might have been canned corn, but several of the people with the Buffalo Bill's troop got sick. 2 or 3 of them were very sick, and Albert, unfortunately, was the only one to have died from the food poisoning. Died here in Danbury Hospital. Buffalo Bill, wonderful with the Native Americans, especially for being in 1900. Took them on the road with him. He treated them as equals. They were paid the same. He allowed them to erect their own teepees, their own village. They spoke their own language. They ate their own food. Something that you think back to 1900 must have been so foreign to these Native Americans. But anyway, Buffalo Bill made sure that Albert had a nice coffin and a nice grave site right next to the lake, Worcester Cemetery here in Danbury. The problem is that once the burial was done, the people that were here, they left with the show and went on to the next point. And it was probably another 3-4 months before the natives in the show got back to Pine Ridge. And by then, they didn't remember where. They knew Albert died, they knew he was buried, but they couldn't remember where. So he sat in this unmarked grave until 2008, and actually 2007. And anyway, in the process of remapping part of the cemetery, he came across a burial card that was marked Afraid of Hawk, and went through newspaper clippings and stuff. And the researcher in the museum, Diane, did a lot of legwork talking to the Buffalo Bill Museum, Denver, and we finally able to track down a history of this fellow as far as that year going through the various towns and so forth. But the question come up, now that we know where he is, do we want to put a stone up for him, or does the family want him back? Took some time because the family had moved from Pine Ridge Reservation to Cheyenne River. But with the help of a number of people, it happened to come across the family. And the patriarch of the family, Daniel, now is 85 years old. He is a nephew of Albert. Albert's brother, Richard, was Daniel's father. So being the last of that generation, you know, he wants him back. No way, you know, no how, I want him back. So I made the first trip out to South Dakota. Unfortunately, it was mid-October, and I flew into the first winter storm of the season. Anybody who's familiar with the upper Midwest knows that when the curtain comes down on summer, it comes down hard. But it was a wonderful trip. I had a chance to meet with Daniel, one of his sons, and a granddaughter. And I left thinking that, you know, we've got everything going now with, you know, from the tribal end, going to come back and we're going to get things moving. Except that you got the government to deal with too. And so, you know, you have the federal government, you've got the state laws and South Dakota laws, you know, all these things that have to figure into this. Very easy for me to decide with Lakota, just, you know, we're just going to do it. But it doesn't work that way. And along the way, and starting to set that up initially, the granddaughter, mid-20s, with 2 kids of her own, and just decided, you know, it was much more of a responsibility to take on than she really wanted to. We started spending time with what they call Lakota time. And Lakota time falls somewhere between yesterday and way into the future. When it's time for something to happen, it will happen. Had a hard time comprehending that. We're used to, you know, something like this comes up, you know, I was ready to jump on it and get it done. Oh, all right. So it's kind of sat there, not doing anything for about 1.5 years, when out of the clear blue, I get a call from one of Daniel's daughters, Marlis. And this is where a lot of the spiritual stuff starts coming in. She had a dream, and essentially in her dream, after she talked to some of the elders and so forth, was Albert coming to her saying that there was somebody waiting to help her and it's time to come home. And because it came to her, she knew that it was her responsibility what had to be done with the family and back here. Earlier with the ceremony, I introduced some of the people that they got into Danbury at 5 o'clock on Monday night. I-84 was a nightmare. So, and the first thing they wanted to do was go to the cemetery. Now we're over exit 2 and they want to go to the Worcester Cemetery. So through all the back roads, finally get them over there. To see them walk up to that grave and, you know, in their spiritual way to, you know, be singing prayers. One of them had a drum with them, and, you know, I could feel something starting to click with me that, you know, it's going to be a whole different experience. The next morning, I left the house to go to the
hotel to pick them up. And while my wife is out talking to a neighbor, red-tailed hawk shows up in the yard. Now, you see them every so often, but they never come and land in a tree right over your head and then start screaming. This one kept screaming, and they're both watching it. It took off in the direction of the cemetery. You kind of do one of those things that, it's so many things as we're going along, just like with that hawk. The two that really stand out to us. We had a reception for the family with the mayor at the hospital. The old east building of the hospital is roughly where the old wooden hospital was back in 1900. And the wing where the men's ward was on is now a small nurse's garden. We got over there introducing people, talking, so forth, and the family said they wanted to go out in the garden. Standing where Albert died type of thing. And they'd been so overwhelmed with everything anyway that I thought, they need 5 minutes by themselves to go out there. So they go out there. Needless to say, everybody came back in all in tears and everything. But what we didn't know was within a minute or two, the exact time that they were out there standing where Albert died was when the state archaeologist moved another piece of soil, and there was his skull. Marlis and Daniel come up to the edge. You found something looking up at you. And the look on their face when that happened, it's one of those once-in-a-lifetime things. It just meant everything to us. The other thing that really jumped out from the spiritual part was the next day they did naming ceremony and giveaway, and beautiful quilts, everything. We got all done, and we're just standing talking, and somebody pointed up behind us, and up over the pond, 2 red-tailed hawks circling around the pond, and then took off. And Marlis looked up, and that's Albert. His spirit is free. He's heading home. For someone who's grown up and never really got spiritual in things, how could you go through all this and not be moved? I think anybody that'd be untouched by it, just some of the coldest people on earth. It's we did get out to the reservation for the burial, and the whole spiritual part of it. The cemetery, when they came up with the cemetery definition for being in the middle of nowhere, they must have been dreaming of the Badlands, because that's what it is. But here we are out where the church mission used to be, but the cemetery's still there. And here's his father's grave, his father who rode with Sitting Bull, Little Bighorn. And he gets buried right behind him. And the tradition, putting him on a scaffold, he's there for a period of time. It was such an experience. It moved us so much that next month we're going out again. And one of the primary reasons going out is that after all this, we never had the time to sit with the family, get to know the family, and get to know even the little things like their feelings about all the stuff that went on. It's nice that, in general from Facebook, oh yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. But it's something else to get an idea, talking to the writers today, what it's been like for them all the way along from Manitoba, what their visions are for the future. The quilt that we gave to the chief today from the Bigfoot ride back in 1990 was the 100th anniversary of Wounded Knee. And Daniel's father, Richard, was one of the Wounded Knee survivors. And to hear his story, his father told him he fell. He was about 14 at the time. He fell trying to scramble away and everything. And one of the soldiers come up, aimed his long rifle right at his head, and it misfired. And in the process of trying to clear it, Richard scrambled away and went and hid in the creek bank. Again, it's one of these things, if it weren't for that weapon misfiring, none of these people would be here today. Albert would still be in that grave and nobody would know about him. It just moves. It's been going to have the one more day tomorrow. I'm going to be sorry to see the writers go, because it's just, I know it's been a long time for them. You ask most of them and they'll tell you the one thing they're looking for is the night that wherever they stop, they have a bed to sleep in instead of on the ground or in the truck or something. But you know, you or I would not tolerate night after night in a tent on the ground, whereas for them this is part of their calling. This is part of the mission. You know, the spirits have instructed them to go forward and do this, and they will do it. That's my story, and I stick with it.
I'm Tyrone Chasky from Pipestone, Manitoba. Chanupa Dakota Nation, Manitoba, same thing, Pipestone, Canada. Been riding horses all my life. 29 years, been riding, helping out with the Unity rides and riding to powwows, and then riding for some of the Unity rides we had. We rode for diabetes, Unity ride for cancer, Unity ride for family violence, just right down to everything, you know, sending that message that we can still change ourselves within the community and the outside community, you know, along this earth, everywhere. This Unity ride was about the environment, from people that were Washichu companies that are drilling along our land. Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, Montana, a little bit of North Dakota, South Dakota, or pretty much all over the place. But the problem, or not the problem, but the message we're sending is that stop drilling. This is my land, you know. I live here. Yeah, they're drilling on our land, and you know, going through our sacred sites, burial grounds, fracking, you know, and just leveling the trees, and you know, just pretty much putting it down to nothing. You know, the air we breathe, it comes through the trees, the water. You can see behind me. That's what we gotta drink to stay alive. You know, drink water, the air we breathe. You know, can't be filthy all the time. You know, but we all gotta share this planet together. Me personally, yeah, I get mad. You know, I want to say, you know, the Washichus are, yeah, they're wrecking the earth. The companies are wrecking the earth, which we all live on. All the chemicals that Washichus are spraying in the field, that's what we eat, is from the animals that roam this earth, that roam this continent. Another one too is the fish and the water, as you can see behind me. You know, pouring chemicals, and most people like to eat fish, and then they say it's healthy for you, but you know, I kind of disagree on it, because it's due to the fact of drilling and, you know, dumping oil chemicals in this water. Most of the tribes that live along the water, you know, that's what they eat, is the fish, you know, and Washichus are dumping chemicals in there, you know. So we all gotta stand up and fight the fight, take it to the government, you know, address it across the continent. You know, it has to be heard. We all gotta stand up and, you know, take a fight for this. This is how we're supposed to live. Now the air, due to the fact of the exhaust from the vehicles, trains, planes, boats, the air we breathe, it's all up there. Everywhere in this continent, they all gotta open their eyes and see what's going on, you know. Us bringing this message to the United Nations all the way from Pipestone, Manitoba, Canada, that's obviously, you know, that's a meaningful message that we're sending. I'd say, anyway, that, you know, we drove this far, to come this far, to say that, to take that message to the United Nations. Not only that, too, and then the Onondaga Nation, too, that we're the Two Row coming down the Hudson River, them too, they took their message, same issues that we have, and took it to the United Nations. We both went down, and it was awesome, and we sent the message. The feeling, it was overwhelming, and just couldn't believe, like, oh man, I'm like that much closer to New York. We left Troy, Albany, brought up in Woodstock, Kingston, Rosendale. I forget that one town called Danbury, Newtown, Mahwah, New Jersey. Then the United Nations on Friday. Oh man, that was looking forward to riding. Oh, waking up, jumping on my horse was like an awesome feeling that I'm that much closer to New York. And then I was like, oh man, it's exciting. Sometimes it's like, man, I'm this far and I'm that much closer. It's looking around, and when we got there, seeing all like the two row and us walking into the United Nations together, you know, I was strong, you know. That was an awesome feeling, you know. I don't know, it was like, holy man, like, we're United Nations now, you know, like, we all walked in there, and oh man, we sat in there and got to listen to other tribes talk their issues on the environment or whatever they're addressing to the United Nations. It was awesome. It was a wonderful feeling. I just want to say to my family back at home, love you guys, see you guys soon, and see you next tour.
To our elders who teach us of our creation and our past, so we may preserve Mother Earth for ancestors yet to come, we are the land.
This is dedicated to our relatives before us thousands of years ago, and to the 150 million who were exterminated across the Western Hemisphere in the first 400 years' time, starting in 1492.
To those who have kept their homelands, and to the nations extinct due to mass slaughter, slavery, deportation, and disease unknown to them, and to the ones who are subjected to the same treatment today. To the ones who survived the relocations and the ones who died along the way. To those who carried on traditions and lived strong among their people. To those who left their communities by force or by choice and through generations no longer know who they are.
To those who search and never find, to those that turn away the so-called non-accepted, to those that bring us together, and to those living outside keeping touch, the voice for many.
To those that make it back to live and fight the struggles of their people, to those that give up and those who do not care, to those who abuse themselves and others, and those who revive again, to those who are physically, mentally, or spiritually incapable by accident or by birth. To those who seek strength in our spirituality and ways of life, and those who exploit it, even our own. To those who fall for the lies and join the dividing lines that keep us fighting amongst each other.
To the outsiders who step in, good or bad, and those of us who don't know better. To the leaders and prisoners of war, politics, crime, race, and religion, innocent or guilty.
To the young, the old, the living, and the dead, to our brothers and sisters and all living things across Mother Earth, and her beauty we've destroyed and denied the honor that the Creator has given each individual.
The truth that lies in our hearts, all my relations.
Keepers of the Flame is produced by the Pantheon Temple. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider donating to the Pantheon Temple. We are a 501c3 nonprofit temple and the first Wiccan and Pagan temple in the state of Connecticut. It is our dream to someday have land in a building. Please help us achieve this goal. And for more information about us and our events, please go to our website at www.pantheontemple.org. Please visit paganodyssey.com for Beltane, a Pagan Odyssey Festival, Connecticut's oldest and original pagan festival by the Pantheon Temple. And please visit Keepers of the Flame at our new website at www.keepersoftheflametv.com.
Idle No More
calls all people
to join in a peaceful revolution
to honor
indigenous sovereignty
and protects the land and waters
for all peoples.
We must repair violations
to our land and our water,
live the spirit
of our treaty relationships,
work towards justice,
and protect Mother Earth.
Canadians,
Americans,
global people.
We are the protectors of Mother Earth.
It's my future.
It's your future.
Our future.
Do not sit.
It's time.
Become idle no more.
Take me down to the 7 gates of the past my being to the hands of fate. Take me down to the dragon's lair where myth and legend ride the air. Let me rise on the messenger's wings. Let me see what the future brings. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to the magical place where the dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to that magical place where the dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down through the 7 gates where I'll cast my being to the hands of fate. Take me down to the dragon's lair where myth and legend ride the air. Let me rise on the messenger's wings. Let me see what the future brings. Fill me up with the spirit songs of power and love's alive. Take me down where the pagans go, where the fires are high and the candles glow. Take me down to that magical place where they're dancing and swaying at a feverish pace. Take me away on a mystical ride, moving through the veil to the other side. Fill me up with the spirit song